Pop quiz. In metabolic acidosis, which of the following compensatory mechanism occurs? And they give you four choices. I'm not even going to read them. I'm not even going to read them. I'm going to explain to you what is happening in the body. So whenever you see questions like this, you can figure it out, okay? I'm going to walk you through this. So the patients in metabolic acidosis, metabolic kidneys, acidosis, too much acid, right? Let's think about it. Metabolic acidosis, metabolic, again, kidneys. The kidneys are responsible for bicarb. So if the patient's in metabolic, the minute you see metabolic, I want you to think of kidneys, and you need to remember that the kidneys are responsible for bicarb. So if the patient's in metabolic acidosis, the kidneys are in trouble. And we know that it's the kidneys because, again, it's metabolic and acidosis. So what's happening? Kidneys are responsible for bicarb. If the patient's in acidosis, well, that makes sense because if the kidney's in trouble, it's not shooting out bicarb the way it's supposed to, so the patient's in an acidic state. That's what's happening. Whenever the kidneys are in trouble, the lungs are going to try to compensate. And when the lungs are in trouble, the kidneys are going to try to compensate. So if this question tells us that the patient's in metabolic acidosis, letting us know that the kidneys are in trouble, and they're asking us what the compensatory mechanism is going to be, automatically, we already know it's going to be the lungs. If the kidneys are in trouble, the lungs are the ones who are going to help. So automatically, get rid of C and D. C, where it says renal bicarb, that's the kidneys. Get rid of D, where it says increased hydrogen ion excretion. Kidney. Get rid of those two. Get rid of those two. Our answer has to do with the lungs. So it's going to be A or it's going to be B. All right, let's keep going. So if the kidneys are in trouble, and the kidneys are responsible for shooting out HCO3, which is our bicarb, it's not doing that. The patient's in metabolic acidosis, and the lungs is an organ that can help. The lungs can only do one of two things. It can increase or decrease respirations. That's it. The lungs can increase respirations, which means you're going to be doing this. You're going to be blowing off all of that CO2, which is acidic. Or the lungs can decrease respirations. It can slow down your breathing to make you hold on to all of your CO2, which is what? Acidic. If the patient's in metabolic acidosis, the kidneys are in trouble, patient's got way too much acid, what do you think the lungs are going to do? The lungs are going to increase respirations. Why? You got way too much acid. Your body needs to get rid of that acid. So your lungs are going to increase respiration so you can blow off all of that CO2 to bring you back into balance, right? So with that being said, now we could look at our options, and we know the correct answer is going to be A, hyperventilation to decrease PaCO2. Why? CO2 is acidic. If that patient's in metabolic acidosis, they already have too much acid. We need to get rid of all that acid. What are we going to do? We're going to blow it off. Increase respirations to blow it off. Now, let's say it was opposite. Kidneys were still in trouble. We're still talking about metabolic, but instead of acidosis, the patient was going through metabolic alkalosis. Kidneys in trouble, and it's shooting out way too much bicarb, right? Patients in alkalosis. Who's the only guy that can help? It's still the lungs. The lungs can only do one of two things: speed up, blow off all that CO2, or slow down the breathing and hold on to all the CO2. If the patient was in metabolic alkalosis, they didn't have enough CO2. They got too much bicarb. The lungs are going to do what? Slow down respirations to make you hold on to all of that CO2 to bring you back into balance. Okay, so that's the patho. That's how you kind of have to think about what's happening in the body to make sure that you choose the correct answer.